Welcome back to One Human channel, and we're here with a special guest today, a local hero of sorts, Mr. Eric Johnson. Thanks for spending time with us today.
Mayor Schwartzman, it's my pleasure. Thank you for asking me, and I appreciate the great introductions. I hope your day's going well, and thank you for the chance to be on your show.
Well, it is a beautiful day in Galesburg. Honestly, yesterday was as equally beautiful. And I mean, we could have been doing this outside, I suspect, today. But you're here with us today, and obviously, some of the viewers know you, but many don't. So, tell us a little bit about yourself and your connections to Galesburg.
I certainly will, and thank you for asking that. Knox County is my home county. I grew up between McQuan and Abingdon, and that's where I live at today. I live where my mom's parents lived for a number of years. My dad grew up in the Williamsfield, DeHenda area. Mom grew up in the McQuan area, and then I went to Knoxville from K through 12, and then I went to the University of Illinois where I studied agricultural communications and broadcast journalism. And then after I graduated from the University of Illinois, I worked in the Springfield area for the Christian County Farm Bureau for about 10, 11 years. And then I worked for the Illinois Beef Association where I did communications and marketing work there in Springfield. Had a small farm down there too, and where I had some of my cattle. And then I came back here to the area to focus more on cattle and farm related activities. And my dad was a long time diesel mechanic at Gunther Construction Builder Supply, and then my mom was a fourth grade teacher there at Maple Woolsey in Knoxville. And so when I'm not here at Sandburg, I spend a lot of time there on the farm with our cattle. And my dad and I work together and do the hay and the cattle. And we're a very small farm, and but I certainly enjoy working with him. And matter of fact, he is flying for the first time today and taking a flight in a Stearman around
Oh, wonderful,
Galesburg for
wonderful.
the first time. So fingers crossed.
Yes,
But
well,
that's my background, and I'm really glad to be in the area working.
oh, thanks for sharing. Yeah, the Stairmen are a fantastic festival, and if people are watching this, please come out and watch the old planes. They're really delight. And so you're at Carl Sandburg College now. You've been there a couple of years. Tell us what's going on at Carl Sandburg.
Yeah, I'm going to share a little bit about what we're doing. So, in my role, I work with our foundation, which is our 501c3 arm, our non for profit charitable arm of the college. And we're independent from the college, but our main purpose is to follow and be financial support to all the programs here at the college. And really, when it gets down to it, to further the college's mission and vision. And so, I mean, our goal, Mayor, is to help students succeed. And through every educational journey is different, but we are going to work day in and day out to further the college's mission, through the organizations that we work with, the donors we work with, and a couple of ways we're doing that right now is we have our 100 Extraordinary Women Nursing Success Initiative that's going on right now, and we are today at 90%, and our goal raise $100,000. And what we're going to use those for is we use them for student success grants. And so nursing profession students have the opportunity where they can apply for up to $500 of funding per academic year. And they can use that on, course related, whether it's supplies, textbooks, it might be transportation, it might be to help with daycare for, family members, anything like that. Expenses that, you know, increase the barrier for a student to complete their education. And so we are really fortunate to our donors, our volunteers that have helped us get this close. Our deadline and our celebration is going to be September 24th, and we feel pretty good. We've had 2 great weeks from some of our team captains that have really made a lot of ground. And the other night at the Chamber of Commerce Awards dinner, we were really fortunate to be the recipients of the silent auction funds for that. And that was a good boost for us too, and a lot of good PR about the programs that we're doing here at Sandburg and the work we're doing. Another thing we're working on too is obviously, in your time at being a professor at Knox and my time working at Knox, we know how strong alumni engagement was. And so something we're trying here at Sandburg is it's called 50 Alumni, 50 States.
Okay.
And so my colleague Stacy Rucker, we're trying to fill in all 50 states of the United States, and we're going to go internationally. And our goal is to get ambassadors and advocates for the college that says, hey, we're willing to share our Sandburg story. but we're also willing to help promote Sandburg. And so we're doing some fun things there. But I will tell you, you talk about some wonderful success stories and some really cool stories that we're getting from a lot of the states. It's been rewarding for my teammates and I to be able to read those stories, and then as we share those with some of our colleagues and Dr. Riley and others, it's like, wow, the Sandburg impact and the jumpstart that it has on people's educational path and their careers is really exciting. One other thing I want to share with you, Mayor, is we just finished awarding our first ever class of our Tools of the Trade Success Grant. What the Tools of the Trade Success Grant is something we established with the Mellinger Foundation.
Okay.
In Monmouth, and the goal there is, for students who are going into automotive technology, the supplies and the tools, to get a tool chest, to get a tool set, it has a pretty significant cost with it. And so the Mellinger Foundation has worked with our Sandburg Foundation, and we were able to award close to $2,000 for 8 students to use on, for their tools, and in hopes,
great.
that they can, to save them. But we've heard some great stories of students that, maybe have been in other fields who are coming back to Sandburg, want to go into the automotive technology fields. And we had one student that came in after we told them that they were awarded, and they came into our office and told a little bit more about their story, and they cried. They said, we've never had anybody believe in us like that before. And we do believe in our students, and we want them to succeed and stay in the region, because this is something that I think you'll find interesting, is that close to 75% of our graduates will stay in the Sandburg district, and a big portion of our district falls into Galesburg, falls into Monmouth, falls into Carthage, and the outlying counties in between. And so those are areas that, between those, our commitment to the innovation grants that we give to, we award close to $40,000 a year to employees that apply. It's kind of a Shark Tank kind of process where, staff can come and present a proposal to our foundation board about an innovative idea, because we believe that, the innovations here at Sandburg, they impact our students and give the college the opportunity to grow. And so that's something we're really big supporters of. And then our student success grants, like what I talked about previously with the nursing success grant, we also offer a crisis grant, and we work with our institutional effectiveness department to offer an adult bridge grant. And then again, we just concluded the Tools of the Trade grant. So we're trying to do everything possible to find ways that we can help lower the costs of expenses that may not be covered through financial aid, scholarships, and or promise programs like the Galesburg and or Sampson Promise to help our students. And so and then, of course, if you're driving out to campus, you can see that the campus is taking part in one of our first major construction projects since the college was built, which is exciting.
Yeah.
It's going to be a great beautification piece, but also, too, the new Science and Tech Center is going to significantly enhance our teaching facilities. And so that's going to really bring people together from the allied health standpoint, our nursing professions, science programs. And really, it's going to help us, for somebody that I know has close ties to science and technology buildings, this is going to be really, where the future of science and technology are at, and be the center of our lives, for a lot of the growth here. So I know that's a lot in a quick passage there, but we've got some really exciting things going on here at Sandburg right now.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, and unfortunately, there's not a lot of outlets that are really promoting what you guys are doing. You guys are doing amazing work. We have this amazing community college right in our backyard, and I'm glad, you had to take some time to get through all that. My grandmother, Helen Major, was a nurse, and she became a nurse later in life. And so when I knew her as a young child, she was a nurse, and I always have just tremendous respect for her and the work she did. And even my own life, interacting with nurses. We know we need nurses. COVID certainly taught us that, and it's a very tough profession. It's really right at right there, at the critical stages of life. Nurses save lives every day, and it's so important. And we need a really good school, and we have one. So it's a beautiful kind of situation. You talked about this, all the wonderful programs. We're trying to increase Galesburg's population. Apparently, if we get students at Sandburg, according to your statistics, they're likely to stay here, and that's really important. And you guys are doing everything you can, and the city as well. Through our Galesburg Promise program, we assist as well. Some of our hotel motel tax goes to assuring that students can go to Sandburg and move on in their educational mission and career, and that's wonderful. So it's all hands on deck. But there are some challenges, and we have to identify those. And what would you say are some of the challenges we face to attract students even to Sandburg, if not to four-year college?
Yeah, I think as we look at that, I've been able to have the opportunity to work at both institutions, and certainly being there's not many towns of our size, in my opinion, that have two such wonderful institutions that offer a lot of opportunities from a workforce preparedness standpoint to having so many connections around the world. And I think as I look at the challenges and some questions that I've always tried to pose, not only in this role, Mayor, but when I was involved with economic development down in the Taylorville area, is there was some components that we always tried to ask ourselves as related to the challenges, and some of those were, for example, what will bring people to the area first and foremost, and a couple other things is what is exciting about Galesburg, Knox County, and those surrounding areas, and what is special. We know we have those special things here and a really creative niche, but it's just being able to tell that story. And something else we always looked at too, and that I've always tried to take in consideration, is how easy is it for people and or prospective students to get around, whether it be in Galesburg and or from the surrounding towns to Galesburg. And so that's a factor. Certainly, the staples of life, shopping. That's always something that I think is a challenge that we try to pose. Dining, the uniqueness. I think Galesburg is one of the most vast for a town, in that 30,000 range of dining experiences that we have here. We have such a wonderful base and such talented restaurants and managers and owners in this area. The other thing too, certainly I'm sure you've been, always looking at is, lodging, the opportunities to be able to be accessible to organizations, whether it be during, so things like homecoming, graduations, being able to share with prospective students and younger people that says, hey, we've got places that accommodate, if you bring your families to town, but also too on the art scene. I look at that and how can we overcome the challenges to improve, continuously improve. We have such a wonderful art scene in Galesburg, and we have a lot of, you and me both, we have major appreciations for being outdoors, loving nature, loving agriculture, sustainability of this community in the area. We have so many great outdoor activities, and so I think being able to promote that, but then also proximity, Mayor. I think about our proximity to Chicago. If you and I wanted to take off this morning at 7:35, go up to Chicago, do some things up there, or do some business if a person was employed up there and or employed remote but needed to do some business up there, you could catch 2 afternoon trains and be back here in Galesburg at the latest around 8:30. That is a pretty nice resource to have, to be able to go to that. And so I look at that. And I also look at, when people come in for activities, maybe it's a family member, maybe it's a spouse, and what do we have as far as multi-family or multi-day activities? Those are things that a person, I think, should always be considerate of, is because maybe someone's busy with something, but what do we have for the other members of the family that can be busy? So what the kids, is it the Discovery Depot? Is it going to the parks? Is it doing things like that? And I think back to this past weekend, or the recent weekends, they're like the Heritage Festival out here at Lake Story and some of the other events. It's kind of those wild card events. The events that bring people to Galesburg for those 2 and 3 days that are really niche events. You think about some of the art events. You think about the Rutabaga Jazz Festival. You think about a lot of the programs, all of the athletic programs that we have out here at Sandburg, and some of the workforce preparedness and a lot of the community education events we have here at Sandburg. Those are really important, but also I look at the importance of making the events kids and family friendly. We have really stepped up our game out here at Sandburg in the recent year, especially as things have opened up more with our summer camps, and things that we offer out here, and the experiences that they can come and do here at Sandburg, but also incorporating activities that are family friendly, trying to do them at times that are family friendly. And the reason why I think we focus on a lot of that is, I remember the first time that I ever danced with a girl at a dance was in the 6th grade at a leadership conference in the D Gallery just downstairs from my office.
Oh, wow.
At Carl Sandburg College.
Small world, huh?
The first time I saw live in-person hip-hop dancing was at a conference that I went to in the theater at Sandburg College.
That's it. Yeah.
I used to come out here, who we'll talk about later, with my grandma
Yeah.
sometimes,
Yeah. Yeah.
who would come out and meet with the president
Uh-huh.
on certain issues that were happening because she was on the county board.
Sure.
And
Sure.
so those things instilled me. But then looking back at Knox, I used to go to the Milwaukee Bucks basketball camp that was in
Yeah.
Knox College.
Yeah.
Those were memories I had. I used to go there and play jazz with my trombone when I was in high
Sure.
school.
Sure.
While I didn't go to school at those two institutions, I worked at both those places and have a fondness for both institutions. And so
Yeah.
the other thing that I think about too is aesthetics. I mean, you all, we've seen, some great improvements and some really cool things going on downtown. Is, the aesthetics of the town. And I think about how we promote and overcome the challenges. A person who was very close to me, who was the president and CEO of the chamber in Taylorville, Illinois, when I worked down there, his name was Fred Rano, and a very close friend of mine. And he always said that it's got to be our responsibility to take care of our side of the street, keep our own house in order, and try to be the proponents of our own neighborhoods. We can't always take care of the big picture, but if we can take care of our small little section of Galesburg, our small little section of Knox County, and try to make it a little bit better, to try and make it a little bit more creative and a little bit more unique, that things are going to happen for us. And I think back to campaigns that have really, that they've gotten off the ground. I remember the Pure Michigan campaign that was, years back, and, promoting those tourism opportunities. I think about where we're at here, the Enjoy Illinois, the opportunities to work, to live, to play in Galesburg, strategic marketing, and keeping our efforts grassroots. I think if we, as our role, something we try to do here on the alumni standpoint, volunteer standpoint, that I think is important for us to maybe look at in our communities and our neighborhoods, is finding people's enjoyments. My mom, when she was a fourth grade teacher, people would come to her and they'd say, "How have you gotten my student to learn how to read?" And she said, "Well, I found out what those students enjoy.
Right. Right.
And if they enjoy trucks and semis and tractors and things like that, well, then let's read about it. Let's follow your passion." It's like, for me, I read a lot of cattle magazines.
Yeah.
I read like veterinary handbooks, on the latest practices, things like that. People say, "Do you read novels?" I said, "No, I really don't. But I read a lot of cattle books and I read a lot of veterinary magazines because I enjoy it."
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think if the engagement factor is what I'm getting at with that point, is that when people enjoy doing something, and if we find those volunteer areas that people enjoy, I think they're going to be really active volunteers and be the people that help make Galesburg, make Knox County, make our Carl Sandburg district just a really great place to live, to work, to study, and play.
Yeah, and I mean, there was so much there. I mean, I couldn't recount everything you said, but I mean, I think in the heart of it is getting the word out. Each individual also can recruit. If you know younger people, or even people looking to transition. You didn't mention this, but I'm aware that there's going to be some renewable energy training going on at Carl Sandburg here next year, and so there's some really exciting stuff going on, and people can switch careers midlife. It's a fun, exciting thing to do, and certainly getting people into the higher education field, just getting them started. I had a good friend who probably in his late 30s said, I want to be a welder, and he went to Carl Sandburg, and within 2 years he was actually teaching a course on what he had learned because he was so passionate, and now he's got a really good paying job, not too far from Galesburg, but it's and he's got a family now, and it's just a step in the direction of success for him in his life. And don't we want that for everybody? So let's do that. Now, to close, we this interview's gone a little longer than most of my normal ones, but you said you'd be a little wordy, but it's okay. There's a lot of good content. I mean, I want to spend a moment on your grandma, Jane Johnson. I moved here and I met her. She used to write me. She didn't use a computer, so all her letters were handwritten. I have a drawer full of them. Just wonderful stuff. I mean, down to earth, really dedicated. You grew up, in her shadow and knew her.
Yeah.
And so tell her just a word or two about this wonderful woman who grew up in this area.
She had a bigger swath than people realize, and they always knew that if it come down to, when strip mining was big around here, any kind of mining related land reclamation stuff, she was really the center of that. But a lot of people didn't realize that folks like President Carter and Robert Redford and a number of notable people worldwide would call my grandmother for advice.
Wow.
in issues that they were dealing with, land reclamation wise, or mineral, or rights that were, coal rights, anything like that that was related to their land. And I tell you what, I knew her as grandma until I started working at Farm Bureau, and we had an organization that was looking at doing in some longwall mining down
Okay.
in Montgomery and Christian County.
Uh-huh.
And that's when Grandma and I, that's when I started receiving these packets, Mayor, on a weekly basis. And, it was the handwritten letters.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's how she did. Grandpa would take stacks of letters to the post office or the mailbox every day.
Yeah.
And Grandpa was, hardcore retired Marine, went to work at the railroad. Grandma, it was so smart, for somebody that didn't have, truly formal education. She wasn't feeling well when President Clinton spoke at Knox.
Okay.
Dad and I went.
Okay.
And so anyway, Dad and I get up there. Dad and I, we both had suits on, but that typically wasn't our attire.
Right.
And because she had her honorary degree from Knox before I worked there, she had, because of she either got a front row or second row seat there.
Okay. Okay.
And so we go in there. Dad and I have these like purple card tickets up there, and people come and says, "Do you have asking for proof?" We show this. Oh, Jane Johnson's. But anyway, when President Clinton walked around the corner, somehow somebody must have picked him up because I think it worked some with Grandma too.
Okay.
And he says, "I hope Jane's doing well." And but that's the kind of swath that she had.
Yep,
and people used to rely on her a lot, on legislative issues. But I'll share this: we had her a lot longer than we really thought we would, because when I was 6, Mayor, she had a massive heart attack.
Wow.
She was 11 days in Memorial Hospital in Springfield. We brought her back home. She had another massive heart attack.
Oh my gosh.
They either ambulance or flew her to St. John's in Springfield, and she spent a full open heart surgery, well over 100 days there. Didn't have any luck. Took her to Indianapolis. She was in the hospital for over like 140 plus days between Memorial and Springfield, St. John's and Springfield, and the University of Indiana Hospital in Indianapolis. That was a year after she ran for state representative. She did not win in it was a close race.
Yeah.
But if she would have won, that would have been a major hit. But they lost her 21 times in the process. And I remember Mom and Dad would wake me early in the, like middle of the night, because they'd call Dad first. And we would go down 97, booking it to Springfield.
Mm-hmm.
And so during that time frame, Grandma was, in bad shape. And so Dad would spend most of his time at the hospital with Grandpa. Mom would take me to see the Lincoln sites.
Okay.
And that really boosted my Lincoln history over time. But we had her for 26 years after she had that.
She was a fighter. I mean, you could just say that about her. She had the heart of a lion. I mean, her energy, she walks in a room and the whole place would light up, and people would listen. And I had not met her until I moved here, and I was so impressed with her. She said my oldest daughter, she got to know a little bit when she was little, and she had some really nice things to say about her. So I've told my daughter that. You happened to meet my daughter actually recently at an event.
Yeah.
And she's still alive. She's still alive in our community, and we're so proud of her. And I just wanted you to share that. It's such an amazing person. I've gotten to meet. You got to be raised in many ways by her, and she's still in us. So let's keep up the great work. Thank you for coming, meeting with us today. Some really amazing information. I mean, a lot of it is not being communicated. Our newspaper is not very active anymore. So we need to be, all of us listening, we need to be essentially the news media. We need to spread the news. We need to spread the positive things that are going on in our communities. And you did that today for coming in. You look really nice, by the way. I know you say you don't dress up like this all the time, but you're doing a great job at Sandburg. We're sorry you left Knox, but you're it's all about the area, and the work that you're doing is certainly going noticed, and we're very thankful to have you.
Oh, I appreciate the opportunity very much, and it's been great to talk professional related stuff, and also talk about grandma. I found it funny when you and I got talking, and I had never really got a chance to know you as well as I feel that I got to know you more in the last couple of years,
Yeah,
and it started on that conversation about
I
grandma,
know it did.
and I'm sometimes when I'm not work wise, I'm pretty quiet. I mean, when I get home, I kind of like to be home, do those kind of things. And so opening up about my family life isn't always, the first thing I do. And that really got me a chance to get to know you better.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
and it was just amazing. I mentioned it, but she really impacted our lives, and I'm grateful. Her skills of writing, that was something we always pushed a lot. In my time at Knox, we push it here at Sandburg as well. The importance of being able to communicate, whether it be written or verbal skills, and that was something that was really important to her. So, much appreciation for your support of Carl Sandburg College and everything we're doing, and to the community. We're very grateful to be able to collaborate with you, and thanks for the opportunity.
Look, and go enjoy the beautiful day. It's absolutely
You
amazing
too.
outside, and we'll be in touch shortly, okay?
All
Have a
right,
great
take
day.
care.
Bye bye.
Yep, we'll see you.